Hey guys, I'm Mindy with Cute Girls Hairstyles. Today Brooklyn's here helping me, and we're going to show you the Mockingjay braid. It was slightly different than the Katniss braid. It would be easy to confuse this as a French fishtail. However, after scouring the internet for close-up pictures, as well as going to the movie and a lot of other things, I have determined it was in fact a French braid. So I have several reasons I'll explain while I'm braiding, but let's get going on the braid. Okay, now to begin the braid, I parted it on the right side of her head so the majority of her hair falls to the left, and I pulled out a couple little pieces up front that we want to leave hanging like Katniss wore hers, kind of hanging down. I'm going to go ahead and grab a section of hair, and right close to the ear, just slightly behind the ear, we're going to begin our French braid. Now the Katniss braid from the first movie went way up, kind of like a diagonal braid, and this one goes more along the hairline. So I'm going to go ahead and divide the three pieces and just begin braiding. You can see that we've already curled Brooklyn's hair so that it adds some really fun texture at the top so that it's not just flat and slicked onto the head. We're just gonna go ahead, keep braiding. Now, most of you guys may know that Katniss wears a wig for this entire movie, which is one of the reasons I think this was a braid and not a fishtail, because fishtailing a whole entire wig would show a lot of wefting and be quite difficult. So we're just going to keep moving along, kind of following her hairline. Another reason is that I watched an interview with Camille Friend, who is the lead hairstylist for this movie, and she mentioned that they tried to tone the hair down because they wanted to kind of come from the capital scenes of the first two movies to the war zones of the third movie, which to me would not entail a fishtail because that's more elaborate and sophisticated looking. We're just going to keep going, still following kind of the same hair pattern along the hairline. And I also watched an interview with the same hairstylist, Camille Friend, and she showed a picture of the actual wig that Katniss wore in the movie, and to me it really did look like a braid through this part. However, at the ends, it looked a little more texturized, and so I do think she switched to a fishtail there. Okay, I'm probably going to do one more stitch, and then I'm going to stop pulling hair from this side because we want to leave some for the other braid. So I'm just going to do a couple quick braid stitches just to secure this braid. And use an elastic. Same thing on this side. I'm going to have her hold little pieces out of the way. We're just going to come by the ear, pick up some hair, and begin our French braid again. Again, following pretty much along the hairline, just adding in the hair as we go. This one obviously is only going to be a few stitches as opposed to the last braid we just did. Since the hair falls over this shoulder, we need it to be a lot closer to this ear. Got maybe one more. Gather up the last bit of hair. And again, just do a few stitches to secure it while you play with it for a minute. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and take just a little tiny black elastic, and I'm going to secure it right here where I want this ponytail to sit. And then I'm going to work my braid and get it sitting exactly where I want it and how I want it, and make sure that it's going to flip over that shoulder easily and undo the bottom braiding. And then what I'm going to do here, and this is up to you, this is my best guess for this hairstyle. I think she switched over to a fishtail at this point, but I think she did a reverse fishtail because it has a lot more texture and kind of has a downward angle to it. To do that, you're going to take a piece from this outside edge, and she took pretty big pieces. You're going to take a piece and you're going to go under instead of over and switch it to the other side. Same with this side. So you take a piece and just go under and add it to the other side. Take another, remember we're going to take pretty big pieces so that it's almost going to look like a braid, but it's going to add a lot more texture. When you start seeing the fishtail form, you'll see what I'm talking about. Switch it under, take another piece, switch it, and so on and so forth all the way down. Once we get to the end, of course, we're just going to secure that with an elastic. And then I think that I'm going to just cut this. You can leave it in if you prefer, but this is going to allow that braid to loosen up, add a little more softness to it, and also sit better over her shoulder. You can pull that apart even to get a nice, really full, and you can see that it looks like a braid when you pull that chunky piece as you go along, and less like a fishtail, but there's just a lot more texture to it. Flip that over the edge and you're done. Okay, let's do the final spin. For our awesome Mockingjay braid. I love this. I actually really love the fishtail at the end. Just so full and gorgeous. So make sure you guys check out all of our other Hunger Games hairstyles. We have a playlist. I'll put a link in the description box below. We have several. And be sure to come back next Sunday because we have another Mockingjay hairstyle coming your way. So we'll see you guys then. Bye guys. Bye. So when you get to the end, you can just secure it all together with one more elastic at the bottom. It just gives you a spot.
What?